Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I was really curious, with all the protesting going on, everything kind of happening. I was really curious about the various elements that are participating in what's kind of been happening. One of the things, I don't know if you guys felt the same way I did, but I remember just kind of thinking, where do all these white people come from? Why are all these white people at these protests? I mean, there would be protests where there was mostly white people, just a few black people out there. And while I'm open to the idea of considering black people having allies and all this other stuff, I think that you have to understand, I think that white supremacy isn't just something that is embraced by the far right. White supremacy is also embraced by the left in a very paternalistic way. In a way that kind of says, we want to help black people, so we're going to drive the car, and black people, Negro, you just get in the back, and we're going to drive in the direction that we want to go to. And that's what I'm kind of seeing in this situation. I'm seeing another scenario, yet another one, where something that black people care about has been hijacked by allies who took control of the whole process. And now, is it their fault or your fault? I'm not here to talk about that, because I think that part of the reason people can hijack your process is because you don't maintain control of that process. But I will also say that I think that we as a community, unfortunately, because we've been trained to be so docile and so unconventional, so anti-unconventional when it comes to our willingness to really fight for the things that we believe in. We don't really believe in making huge sacrifices. We want to kind of be part of the establishment while changing the establishment. That's one of the reasons why a lot of what we do is not effective. We will never achieve freedom by getting together, holding hands and singing "We Shall Overcome" and crying and holding peace rallies and inviting our pastors to pray with the person who just slaughtered us. That's not going to get you anywhere in America, because America is kind of a war zone. So I did some research on this, and I'm not an expert by any stretch, but I thought I'd share what I found out just for those who want to know a little bit more about what's happening. Basically, what you have in the midst of all this chaos is you have a clashing of forces, clash of the titans. You've got the far right extremists who have participated to some extent in these protests. I think they're going to get more. They're going to participate more as time goes on. We know about that. We know about alt-right and all that stuff. But then you've also got leftist groups. The 2 biggest groups I've seen, which are actually connected, are a group called Antifa and also the anarchists. And anarchists, from what I've gathered, again, this is me speaking loosely here. Feel free to leave comments if you're more of an expert on this topic than I am, because I think the community should be informed. Anarchists just they don't like power structures. They don't like hierarchies, right? So they don't like capitalism. They don't like corporations. They don't like governmental structures. They don't like things that they feel oppress their freedoms. So they just sort of deal with anarchy by destroying things, burning things down, like just getting anything that represents, your power, symbols of your power or actual power. They want to just tear it all down. Like I almost compare them to the Joker and Batman, just some people just want to see the world burn because they don't want to necessarily be part of the structure as it was. Now, is that a bad ideology? I'll leave it up to you to make that decision. I personally think that, a lot of those systems that you're talking about in America, they are white supremacist systems. So I'm not completely against the idea of seeing some of these systems dismantled and broken down. I don't want to see all of society broken down. I think that there are some opportunities for all of us there. But at the same time, I've actually advocated for black people in terms of either tearing down the system or getting away from the system and creating alternative systems. One method that has not worked for us is joining that system and thinking we can change that system from the inside. That's either a really, really, really slow process, or it's a really, really, really ineffective process. I can't tell the difference. Now, another group that I found, I mentioned earlier, is Antifa. Antifa, I didn't know much about this group. I did a little research. And here's I'm going to read some from the BBC about Antifa. Basically, Antifa let's see here. Let me go back down here. The social causes of Antifa, this is from the BBC, short for anti-fascist or anti-fascist action, are easily identifiable as left-leaning. Most members oppose all forms of racism and sexism, which is a good thing, and strongly oppose what they see as nationalist, anti-immigration, and anti-Muslim policies that Trump has enacted. However, as the name indicates, Antifa focuses more on fighting far-right ideology than encouraging pro-left policy. Unlike the mainstream left, they do not seek to gain power through traditional channels, winning elections and passing bills into law. Antifa is an anti-government, anti-capitalist, and their methodologies are often perceived as more closely aligned with anarchists than mainstream left. Antifa does not shy away from the militant protest methods, including destruction of property and sometimes physical violence. They were present in the 2017 Berkeley protests of right-wing provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos and a violent protest against Donald Trump's inauguration. They were also present at Charlottesville. Their roots go back as far as the Nazis. Much like the far right, Antifa members around the world comprise a patchwork of groups. Though the most active appear to be based in the U.S., the UK, and Germany. The German movement was founded in 1932 to provide a militant far-left group to counter the rising Nazi party. They were disbanded in 1933 after Hitler took control of the parliament and resurrected in the 80s as a response to neo-Nazism after the fall of the Berlin Wall. President Trump's election seems to have been something of a touchstone for the Antifa movement, which has links with the Black Lives Matter movement and various anarchist groups. According to James Anderson, one of a group of people who run the popular anti-fascist and anarchist news site, It's Going Down, interest has spiked since Trump's election. They used to get 300 hits a day. Within a few weeks of Trump's election, they got up to 20,000 hits a day. Let's see here. So basically, there are calls to label Antifa a terrorist organization. Antifa has become a popular topic for right-leaning websites and among conservative pundits. Fox News commentator and conservative speaker Eric Erickson says in The Resurgent, a conservative blog, that Antifa and the white supremacists are two sides of a common coin. The people dead in Charlottesville died because of one neo-Nazi, but there were dozens of people left bleeding in the streets because of Antifa. Meanwhile, Change.org lobbied Mr. Trump to declare Antifa a domestic terror organization. It's garnered 100,000 signatories. While Antifa has gained relatively little attention in the mainstream media, that may soon change. I agree. So that appears to be what's going down. You want my take on it? Here's what I see. I see black people in many political arenas involving white folks as being political footballs, assets, tools for a broader agenda. I think that, I don't think any of these people really care much about you as a black person unless you are in alignment with whatever agenda they have. And so that goes back to what John Hammer Clark used to say. Dr. Claude Anderson says that black people really have no friends. So the left has an agenda, the right has an agenda. I want you to really figure out what is your black agenda, because when I hear ideas on the left, some of them sound good, some of them I don't appreciate. Same thing on the right. Some of the ideas sound good, some of them I don't appreciate. So I think just a unique, independent agenda, which goes back to the basic idea that we've always fought for, right? What have we always fought for? We've always fought for freedom. Freedom. That means, we're not out seeking a better pimp. We're not seeking to be a higher paid slave. We're not seeking to find a new master. And that's what I'm seeing right now. And it's not, is it their fault? I mean, white people ain't going to stop being white. Humans ain't going to stop being human. Greedy people ain't going to stop being greedy. You're just going to have to learn how to navigate in this space where there are various groups of people that want to use your existence for their purpose, no different from slavery. So to some extent, I think there are white folks who see black people almost the way maybe you see the family dog. Like we love the family dog, we're glad the family dog's here, but we don't see the family dog as an equal. Or at the very least, when you talk about racism, I think that we have to be careful about using that in blatant terms, right? Like, for example, when people say Donald Trump hates black people, I say, no, actually, Donald Trump doesn't hate black people. He loves conservative black people. He hates liberal black people. At the end of the day, that's a liberal conservative thing. Joe Biden and the Democrats, they love liberal black people. They don't like conservative black people, right? So my belief is, as a person who I want to love all black people, or love as many black people as possible, I believe it's every black person's right to be who they want, particularly on these horizontal issues. These horizontal issues like which political party you're in, whether you're gay or you're straight, if you're a feminist or a non-feminist, whatever. I think that those issues have to be secondary to the number one issue, which is, are you black or are you not black? And if you are black, then I want to root for you. But then that does become complicated when you see a black person that's doing something that you just feel is uncomfortable and appalling, right? Or at the very least, you want to encourage them to do better. You want to encourage them to shift their behavior, right? So it's not easy. It's not easy to navigate. But those are the groups you're kind of dealing with. I got a little bit concerned when I started just seeing, when you saw the protests, when I think about young brothers that I know who are out and protesting, some of them, I could see getting into maybe possibly burning something down, busting a window, looting a store, Lord knows you bust open a Nike store, I know a lot of black folks who going to be up in that store, and white people too, right? But what really got me was when I saw the white guy, one video of a white guy with a gas mask on, who had like tools and weapons that he had prepared for the protest, and he was going to each window systematically, breaking windows. It almost like a soldier who was on a mission, right? Like he had a deliberate, clear sense of purpose. He had an assignment, and I think that to me is a sign of who's really there. Who's there because they're just angry and trying to make a point, versus those who are there to say, okay, while the chaos is going on, this is when we're going to pursue our agenda. And it goes back to what I was telling you guys about the whole corona thing, which I thought was heavily manipulated by both the right and the left. I still believe that. When the smoke is high, when the vision is blurry, that is when people will creep through the fog and pursue their own agenda. The corona situation, that allowed countries and individuals and corporations to pursue their own agenda in the midst of all the chaos. So now the next piece of chaos, which conveniently, I'm sure you've noticed how the media just suddenly corona is not a national emergency anymore. Now this is the big thing, right? That now they're not even really talking about corona. It's a footnote now. And I told you guys that was going to happen. I said eventually when the media stops talking about it, people are going to stop being concerned about it. But that doesn't mean you should stop being concerned about it, because Corona's still out there. But I don't think it was ever really out there like they made it out there. But they pushed it out there, which made you feel like it was more out there than it actually was, right? So for all intelligent people in the room, I would say just know that when things like this happen, everybody's pursuing an agenda. You need to figure out what your agenda is going to be too. Right, so that's what it is. That's what I'm seeing. That's what my research says. I hope this helps you. Feel free to leave your comments in the chat. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button, and also Black Wealth, Black Economic Power, developing an economic base. That's my agenda. If you want to know Boyce has an agenda, he sure as hell does. It is building an economic base for the black community. From that base, it will allow us, just like putting astronauts on the moon will allow us to get to Mars. We're building an economic base will allow us to influence the politics in our community. Influencing the politics in our community will allow us to influence the criminal justice systems in our community, and the educational systems in our community, and the economic systems in our community. So that's why I want us to build a base. So stock market investing is something that I want to show you guys how to do and get you started. We're doing the Black Stock Market Challenge starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You can go to theblackstockmarketchallenge.com, that's theblackstockmarketchallenge.com. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button before you go, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.